It is better to be hated for what you are than to be loved for what you are not. Man cannot discover new oceans unless he has the courage to lose sight of the shore. Believe those who are seeking the truth. Doubt those who find it. Be faithful to that which exists within yourself. Everything's already been said, but since nobody was listening, we have to start again. The color of truth is gray. Only those things are beautiful which are inspired by madness and written by reason. I do not love men. I love what devours them. The true hypocrite is the one who ceases to perceive his deception, the one who lies with sincerity. Please do not understand me too quickly. Envying another man's happiness is madness. You wouldn't know what to do with it if you had it. It is easier to lead men to combat, stirring up their passion, than to restrain them and direct them toward the patient labors of peace. He who wants a rose must respect her thorn. When we ask for advice, we are usually looking for an accomplice. You have to let other people be right, was his answer to their insults. It consoles them for not being anything else. Only fools don't contradict themselves. Art is a collaboration between God and the artist, and the less the artist does, the better. There are many things that seem impossible, only so long as one does not attempt them. A straight path never leads anywhere except to the objective. Society knows perfectly well how to kill a man and has methods more subtle than death. Know that joy is rarer, more difficult, and more beautiful than sadness. Once you make this all-important discovery, you must embrace joy as a moral obligation. Work and struggle, and never accept an evil that you can change. Fear of ridicule begets the worst cowardice. Dare to be yourself. God depends on us. It is through us that God is achieved. Fish dive belly upward and rise to the surface. It's their way of falling. Trust those who seek the truth, but doubt those who say they have found it. Then, you think that one can keep a hopeless love in one's heart for so long as that, and that life can breathe upon it every day without extinguishing it. Be faithful to that which exists nowhere but in yourself, and thus make yourself indispensable. We prefer to go deformed and distorted all our lives, rather than not resemble the portrait of ourselves which we ourselves have first drawn. It's absurd. We run the risk of warping what's best in us. profound optimism is always on the side of the tortured. Wisdom comes not from reason, but from love. What would a narrative of happiness be like? All that can be described is what prepares it, and then what destroys it. The most decisive actions of our life, I mean those that are most likely to decide the whole course of our future, are more often than not unconsidered. A man thinks he owns things, and it is he who is owned. There are very few monsters who warrant the fear we have of them. We should enjoy this summer, flower by flower, as if it were to be the last one we'll see. To read a writer is for me, not merely to get an idea of what he says, but to go off with him and travel in his company. Every instant of our lives is essentially irreplaceable. You must know this in order to concentrate on life. In other people's company, I felt I was dull, gloomy, unwelcome, at once bored and boring. The truth is that, as soon as we are no longer obliged to earn our living, we no longer know what to do with our life, and recklessly squander it. Nothing is more fatal to happiness than the remembrance of happiness. I wished for nothing beyond her smile, and to walk with her thus, hand in hand, along a sun-warmed, flower-bordered path. Sadness is almost never anything but a form of fatigue. The capacity to get free is nothing. The capacity to be free is the task. The most important things to say are those which often I did not think necessary for me to say, because they were too obvious. One should want only one thing, and want it constantly. Then one is sure of getting it. But I desire everything, and consequently get nothing. When a man uses a woman as a sex toy, he always tells her that she has a big soul. I can't expect others to share my virtues. It's good enough for me if they share my vices. To know how to free oneself is nothing. The arduous thing is to know what to do with one's freedom. Poverty makes a slave out of men. In order to eat, he will accept work that gives no pleasure. Art is a collaboration between God and the artist, and the less the artist does, the better. Art begins with resistance. At the point where resistance is overcome, no human masterpiece has ever been created without great labor. I exist only as a whole. My only claim is to be natural, and the pleasure I feel in an action, I take as a sign that I ought to do it. Most often people seek in life occasions for persisting in their opinions rather than for educating themselves. After much searching, I have found the thing that sets me apart. A sort of stubborn attachment to evil. Understand that the only possession of any value is life. The most beaten paths are certainly the surest, but do not hope to start much game on them. One must allow other people to be right. He used to say when he was insulted, it consoles them for not being anything else.